2 for 8. So Iowa State has done an outstanding job of limiting their, not only their ability to score, but their looks at the basket. Only 8 field goals.
12 turnovers for North Dakota, none for Iowa State.
Offensive efficiency.
Now Corey Johnson will spot up and hit. Corey Johnson continues his hot shooting tear, shooting 77% from the field in his last 7 games.
Well, I believe he was 3 for 3 and 2 for 2 from the line last game. He's got that hot streak going.
Now Johnson called for the foul as he runs into Tyler Koenig. And that'll be his first.
Another guy they're going to need in Big 12 play, Corey Johnson, looking for consistency from those bench players, and he is really starting to show that for Greg McDermott.
2:32 to play here in the first half as Koenig's at the line. What do you think about North Dakota, Division II school this year? And Kevin, how will this count as far as for maybe an NCAA tournament selection committee or even the NIT?
Well, they are still a Division II status this season, last year in the North Central Conference. So this is a non-counting game as far as wins toward the NCAA tournament. Now next year will be their inaugural year in Division I. They will be road warriors, North Dakota. They got to get 21 Division I games. Majority of those will be on the road.
And including a trip here to Ames again, right?
Yes, I believe they're going to play in the early season tournament that Iowa State will host.
Deontay Garrett gets into the scoring column.
Coach McDermott, he's being nice to his old school by giving him a guaranteed money, but he's not being very nice to him on the court here.
45 points so far. The most in the first half for Iowa State this season was 44 against Texas Southern, so they've eclipsed that. The most points in a half was 46, in which they ended up with a victory against Purdue. Inside of 2 to play in the first 20. Here's Little. And Emmanuel Little ends a long cold spell for North Dakota. So he gets 2 on the board. A Little now with 6 in the first half for North Dakota. The Fighting Sioux being led up by Bledsoe, who's got 7. 13 in the game for Wesley Johnson, 11 for Yuri Hubalik. Boozer for 3. And here come the Fighting Sioux. Here's Harrison. And a blocking foul called against Deontay Garrett. Let's take a look at this play again.
Deontay trying to get his feet set, but he's still sliding now. This is going to be 12th and 13th free throw attempt by North Dakota. That will be addressed at halftime. Got to play defense without fouling. And as you mentioned, North Dakota, a great shooting team from the line, but they're struggling today.
Yeah, might be the scenery just behind the hoop. A little bit different when you shoot up against a wall, or even sometimes at the Division II level, you shoot up against a curtain, whether it be back with the stage, but a little bit different when you have people behind you, right?
Well, in the student section, you know, Cyclone Alley is absent. That would cause another problem.
Clark will ring up another 3. That's the 6th tray of the game for Iowa State. And Rashawn Clark now with 7 and just 27 points away.
Well, that was the
reaching the
concern for North Dakota was going to give Iowa State that 3-point shot, and Iowa State has taken advantage of it.
There's a drive by Joseph. Can't hit the reverse layup. And a timeout taken here by Iowa State as Clark gets the rebound. 38 seconds to go here in the half. Cyclones with their largest lead of 26. And what are they talking about here?
Well, you know what Coach Mack likes to do in this last possession. There is a 3-second differential on the clock, but we've seen him put Deontay Garrett in the game at point with that 1-4 flat with the other 4 players on the baseline, and let Deontay go one-on-one and try to get the ball to the glass and then run those baseline guys in for tip-ins. Now with a 3-second differential, I still think Coach Mack will probably run that clock down with 1 shot.
Well, perhaps one of ISU's most bitter rivals is the Missouri Tigers. On the next ESPN Connections Classic, we traveled back to the Tim Floyd era, 1996, for a clash with the Tigers. 96 was a great year for the Cyclones, winners of the final Big 8 tournament championship. The 96 team included stars like J.C. Holloway, Kelvin Cato, Dedrick Willoughby, and more. From 96, Missouri versus Iowa State, an ESPN Connections Classic on Tuesday night.
North Dakota, see if they're going to stay in their zone. Oh, we've got Brian Peterson in, so we will not see the 1-4 flat play.
Yeah, Deontay out. Alex Thompson on the floor, along with Boozer, Corey Johnson, and Wesley Johnson.
A 3-second differential on shot clock, but Iowa State will run it down.
Different situation here. Iowa State
got his double high screen play, goes into a high-low.
Inside of 5 on the shot clock. Peterson rolls it into Thompson. He'll take the jumper. Can't get it to fall. Here's Joseph. The half-court heave. Off the mark. And Iowa State takes a 26-point lead into the locker room. Very, very impressive half. Not only offensively, committing no turnovers and shooting 50% from the field, but also defensively, they forced 12 turnovers. Iowa State leads it 48-22 on the Fighting Sioux of North Dakota. Dead on the wall. 48-22, Iowa State with a lead on North Dakota here at the half. Welcome back, everyone, here to Hilton Coliseum with Kevin Lehman, BJ Shapen along with you. And Kevin, what an outstanding first half for Iowa State.
Well, how about this? 0 turnovers, BJ. That's quite a performance by the Cyclone offense.
It certainly is. And not only did they play some pretty good offense, but they also played some pretty good defense as well.
Well, they held North Dakota at 27% from the field. They did let them get to the free throw line. They've got to clean that part up.
When you think about it, too, as they head out to the second half, they've got a large lead. They've been in this position before. And what do you look for in the second half now out of this Iowa State team?
Well, they've got to clean up that interior defense and stop fouling on those dribble drives. But what can you say about their offense? And that's about as good as you can get, obviously, with no turnovers and putting up as many points. They have 48 in the first half.
Well, earlier today, Kevin, you had a chance to catch up with Iowa State head coach Greg McDermott. Let's take a listen.
I'm here with Greg McDermott. And Greg, it's your final game before you start Big 12 play. Well, how do you feel about your team? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses going into this last game against North Dakota?
Well, Kevin, I think we've come a long ways offensively, and that's something that obviously was a problem for us in the early going, and we were turning it over far too much, and it seems like we've addressed that problem, and now I think we just need to become a little bit more consistent on the defensive end. We need to try to find our identity defensively with Wesley Johnson on the floor, because we certainly have a different look than we had without him, and then we have to rebound a little bit better. Our rebounding's been very inconsistent, and as good as the Big 12 is, we're going to need to rebound the basketball better.
Well, you're playing a team tonight, North Dakota, you've got a history with. Your first coaching job up there with Rich Glass, 5 years, had great success up there. How do you feel about playing against a school that you've had some history with?
Well, I certainly owe a lot to that institution because that's, as you mentioned, where I got my start in 1989 and had a wonderful 5 years there with Coach Glass. Both of our sons were born, Nick and Doug were both born in Grand Forks while we were there. So we've got a lot of great friends and a lot of great memories from our time there. And you know, it's part of the reason we wanted to reach out and help them. I know they're going through a difficult time with the transition as they move into Division I. It's hard to find games, and certainly you have to fund your program as you're trying to do that. And as you know, I've got a long relationship with Brian Jones, and anything we could do to help them out, we were happy to do so. And it just happens they have a pretty good basketball team as well.
Well, it'll be a great contest tonight. Now you got Big 12 play coming up, Baylor. You've been through the wars once through the Big 12. Rashawn Clark has, Wesley Johnson with a year, Ubalik. But you got a lot of guys never seen this before. How do you get them ready for Big 12 play?
Well, you know, I'm hopeful that schedule we played and that stretch where we played those 6 games, you know, starting with Bradley and ending with Iowa, 6 very tough games. The reason we did that, the reason we took our team to Las Vegas to play a team like Purdue and a team like Alabama was hopefully to give us a taste of what it's going to be like in the Big 12. So I think we've got a feel for that, but until you experience it, that's really the only way to find out if you're ready. And I'm hoping that our leadership can carry us there. Alex Thompson's played in Big Ten games, and as you mentioned, Yuri and Rashawn and Wes have been through it, and they're going to need to carry us. Our preparation's got to be great. We have to start on the road against a Baylor team that's off to a great start and is playing with a lot of confidence. But you know, you play your non-conference to get ready for the conference season, and hopefully we can have a good one tonight and be a final tune-up, and you know, we'll be ready to go when we go to Baylor.
Well, you talked about cutting your turnovers down. We got to talk about the play of Brian Peterson. Came as a walk-on, earned a scholarship, starting spot, and then had a great run there with, you know, at one time 29 assists, 1 turnover. What has he meant to your team and the efficiency of your offense?
Well, he's meant a lot, and he's a big reason why it's running a little bit smoother. He's got a better understanding of what we want him to do. That's part of the reason the turnovers have gone down. The other thing is that the rest of the guys have a better understanding of the offense. They're in the right spot, and Brian's done an unbelievable job of getting the basketball in a place where they can have some success with it. And you know, at the same time, he's mentoring Deontay Garrett and teaching him the mental part about the point guard position. Deontay obviously has a ton of ability, but has never played the point guard position at this level. So Brian means an awful lot to us. He's played some great basketball. He's a big reason that we've been winning a lot lately, and we'll need him to continue to be good if we're going to be successful in the Big 12.
Well, Greg, best wishes tonight against one of your former schools that you coached at, North Dakota.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Iowa State leads it here at the half, 48-22 over North Dakota, as the Cyclones showing some good offense, and again, no turnovers here in the first half. We'll take a break. When we come back, more halftime festivities as you're watching it right here on Mediacom Connection. At the half, of course, the Cyclone basketball program celebrating 100 years. In fact, one of the coaches that helped put Iowa State back on the map was Johnny Orr.
100 years of Cyclone Hoops is presented by Fairway. Your family, we're Fairway. 2 words will forever be synonymous with Cyclone basketball. Here's Johnny. For 14 years, Johnny Orr manned the sidelines as Iowa State basketball coach, and did so with a passion for the game and a flair for winning, taking Iowa State to new heights over and over again. While Johnny is widely considered as one of the great coaches in the history of the game, at Iowa State, he will also be remembered as the father of Hilton Magic. 100 years of Cyclone Hoops is presented by Fairway. Your family, we're Fairway.
Johnny Orr, one of the legends here at Iowa State University from 1980 to 1994. And Kevin, you were a high school coach when he first came to Iowa State.
Well, the father of Hilton Magic is a great description of Johnny, and he was a great entertainer, a fun person to be around, and a great basketball coach.
He certainly was, in helping put Iowa State on the map. Well, right now, the Iowa State lead. 48-22, Iowa State with the lead on North Dakota. Kevin, an action-packed first half as we take a look at the Papa John's halftime highlights.
Well, North Dakota off to a little bit of a slow start, and Iowa State a nice job of defending that Princeton offense, but you can see number 30 there, O.J. Harrison knocking one in, and there's their big player, Emmanuel Little. I would say kept them bottled up most of the half, and there's their three-point shooter. Got to identify him. Bledsoe knocking him in. Great feed from Thompson with a finish, and here's the big dunk by Clark. Slid it in over the rim. And there's the window flush by Brackens. The assist from Peterson.
Take a look at the halftime statistics, brought to you also by Papa John's. You see Iowa State's numbers from the field, 18 of 36, assists 11 to just 1, and then points in the paint. Cyclones with some big-time dominance there, 18-6 the advantage. They lead it by 26. Second half comes your way after these messages. Iowa State with a 48-22 lead on North Dakota. Same starting 5 out on the floor. The starting unit 7-2 when they begin, and also begin the second half together. As you take a look at North Dakota, we'll have the ball to begin the second half first, as Little will drive it in, and a foul called here. as this one's on Yuri Hubalik. Take a look at the leading scores. Wesley Johnson pacing Iowa State with 13. Yuri Hubalik with 11. And Wesley got off to that tremendous start.
He really did. He's been on fire and knocking down 2 threes to get the game open up. And then he attacked the glass. And we're waiting to see that explosiveness come back after his ankle injury. Each game, it appears more and more.
Humans going to be called for palming the basketball.
Well, Humans has really struggled. Iowa State, a nice job defensively. And Peterson has taken the challenge of guarding him as they've elected to put Clark on the other big scorer, Little.
Craig Brackens in this game has just 2 points. That dunk that he had in the first half, which we saw the highlights just a moment ago. It looks like Iowa State will go right to him as he'll flush 2 home from inside the paint.
Well, good call there, BJ, because he's got to get more involved in this offense. Inconsistent as a freshman, and we know he's capable of scoring after those 23-point games they put up against Minnesota and Oregon State.
When you talk about getting involved, is that like demanding the basketball, or what are you talking about?
He's got to get more aggressive, and you can always score on offensive putbacks. Hubalik has done a very nice job of attacking offensive glass. I think Craig's got to get more aggressive in that area.
Here's Hubalik. He'll square up to the basket. Johnson can't tip it up and in. He's fouled and will go to the line to shoot 2.
Nice job by Wesley to sneak in there, keep the ball alive, and then draw the foul. Wesley a chance to add those 13 points. He had a nice first half, and he's really shown the ability to score in bunches. You know, we saw the game against Albany where he scored 15 points in 5 possessions. You need guys in your team like that can rack them up in a hurry. You know, North Dakota's played a Division II and NAI schedule up to this point. Well, this is a little different type of defense that they're facing. Bigger, stronger, more athletic defense.
Here's Benner trying to set the screen in the corner for Little. And now a palm called as Emmanuel Little will turn it over. And another turnover for North Dakota, their 14th turnover of the game.
Well, Little and Yeomans averaging between the two of them about 33 points a game. They have only got 3 field goals thus far in this game. Great job by Iowa State's defense.
Great recognition as Johnson nearly has it stripped away by Joseph. Johnson will spot up. Now will pass it off to the side. Could not get free for that shot as the shot clock starts to wind down inside of 15 seconds.
Well, Joseph able to get a hand on the shot as Wesley went into a shooting rhythm.
By the way, where Sean Clark a rebound just a moment ago. It gives him 5 rebounds on the night, and he's getting closer to ranking inside of that top 20.
Well, he's going to take over a position held by Clint Harris, who was one of Eric Heff's old teammates from the early 70s.
Yeah, Eric Heff on the Cyclone Radio Network.
Clint Harris out of the St. Louis area. I got to know Clint a little bit as when I was recruiting in that area. Eric and him are teammates.
Cyclones will move it around the perimeter. Brackens takes the 3. Got it. A big 3 for the big man.
Now you called it, BJ. He had to get more involved in this half, and he has.
Here's Joseph working against Johnson. And a foul called against Wesley Johnson. That'll be his 3rd. Team foul number 2 against Iowa State here in the late half.
Well, North Dakota, the one good thing they've done in this game is attack the basket and draw fouls from the Iowa State defense.
Joseph will play it in as Little will try to dump it down in. Benter's shot partially deflected away by Hubalik. Garrett looking to run. Hubalik commanding the basketball, and he's fouled as he got it entered into him from Brackens.
Well, there's a part of Craig Bracken's game that we don't talk about much. His ability to throw the ball in the low block is at a high level for a freshman.
Ben Leonard's called for the foul. That'll be his 2nd. Cyclones up by 33.
Bracken's the guy who was 3rd on the team in assists. There's one right there.
On the alley-oop as it's deflected away, and that'll be the first turnover of the night.
Well,
That might have said it all as we saw Coach McDermott on the sidelines just a moment ago.
I was going to say Rashawn has quite a vertical jump, but not that kind. He'd have to have an S on his chest for Superman to get that one.
Tough way to get your first turnover, right?
Well, as you said, Coach McDermott, look on his face was priceless.
Pass to the interior, knocked away. It will stay with North Dakota.
Oh, backdoor cut from that spread offense, and Brian Pearson, a good recognition, and knock it loose.
Greg McDermott with his coaching roots. They actually started at North Dakota with Rich Glass, correct?
Well, actually, Greg, when he got done at UNI, he went over to Germany and was a player coach for a year. A little known fact about Coach McDermott, and then went to North Dakota with Rich Glass, and they had tremendous success there. 5 years. Greg is up there, 5 NCAA tournament appearances.
Well, the turnovers, 15 for North Dakota, just 1 for Iowa State.
And after that success, Greg McDermott was able to get the head job at Wayne State, where he turned that program around. More NCAA tournament appearances.
Then on his way to Northern Iowa. Here's Ubalek. Can't get the shot to fall, and Bledsoe will run it ahead to Joseph.
Brief stop at North Dakota State for 1 year between Wayne State and Northern Iowa. Those North Dakota Sioux did not like the fact that Greg McDermott went to North Dakota State. They are bitter rivals.
Certainly are, and don't play in the same conference anymore because NDSU, well, they made the switch, right?
They made the switch, and I believe they were maybe in their 4th year of Division I, so they got they'll be eligible for the tournament next year.
Clark's 3, in and out, rebound underneath. Comes down to Leonard's.
Takes you 5 years probation before you're eligible to play in the NCAA Division I tournament.
And NDSU has had quite a run so far, some big-time upsets, especially last year and the year before.
Well, it has caused problems for North Dakota scheduling because North Dakota State went in and went into Milwaukee.
There's a big block there by Clark, and the Cyclones end up with the basketball. Time to run it down the floor. Here's Clark. And he'll be bodied and bumped on his way to the hoop by Jimmy Hoy. We've got a timeout on the floor. 15-19 to play in this one. Cyclones with a 33-point lead and trying to swat a few more in.
Couldn't even get an answer. I tried to call.
55-22, Iowa State out in front of North Dakota. A lot of smiles here at Hilton Coliseum, and Rashawn Clark entering the record books here at Iowa State even more so tonight. Another big block for him, and he's had a big night and a big career here.
Just a picture of consistency, especially his senior year, has improved every aspect of his basketball game. It's been a real pleasure to watch him develop.
And in fact, with another rebound, he enters the top 20 now all time in rebounds here at Iowa State. Just a few points shy of cracking that 1,000-point barrier. And what a career there so far for Rashawn Clark.
And then he needs a few more steals to break top 10 in the steals.
Here's Deontay Garrett with a deuce.
Little assist by Wesley Johnson. The team chemistry is really coming with Iowa State. Had a good time as they open up Big 12 play next week.
9-0 run to begin the second half here for Iowa State. The Fighting Sioux have yet to score.
Well, Iowa State has done a nice job of taking away the back cuts in the spread offense.
Now the Fighting Sioux reset here. Inside of 7 on the shot clock. There's a Hoy with the shot. Rebound to Clark. Garrett looks to run it a little bit. And Clark will drive it in, and he'll be fouled and will go to the line. Well, 15 in the game for Wesley Johnson, 11 for Uric Ubalek. 3 players with 7, Deontay Garrett, Rashawn Clark, and also Craig Brackens.
Well, this is a part of Rashawn's game that's starting to improve each game. Attack the basket, but draw a foul and go to the free throw line.
Take a look at career dunks. This is a statistic that Mike Green, the sports information contact here for Iowa State, came up with this category, or statistic category. 69 career dunks now, also for Rashawn Clark.
Do we have dunks? Is there a top 10 list for dunks that has been kept?
I'm sure he's setting the precedent here.
Well, Rashawn is shooting 56% from the field, about 40% of threes. 75, over 75% from the free throw line. I mean, just put an all-around game he's put together, and 7th in the Big 12 in block shots.
We'll grab a seat on the bench right now as you see his numbers on the night. 59-22 Iowa State. Shot off the mark, and the rebound to Boozer.
Well, North Dakota really struggling in the second half. They've yet to get on the board.
Thompson will take the 3 and hit. Big shot there for Alex Thompson. There's another guy Iowa State would like to see get going.
Got to have consistency from your bench. Corey Johnson, Deontay Garrett, Alex Thompson.
And a foul called here on the floor against Iowa State, their 3rd team foul of the late half.
Here you got Charles Boozer in some valuable minutes this game.
3 team fouls on the Cyclones.
And Deontay Garrett will pick up the fouls. North Dakota continues to shuffle players in and out as Emmanuel Little now back in.
Yeomans with just 12 points, and finally they get on the board with Bledsoe.
Cracks the ice as Iowa State had a 14-0 run to begin the second half here. Huge lead against the Fighting Sioux, and they wanted to find out too. North Dakota did. Okay, lost the first 3 games of the season, went on the 10-game winning streak, but how good are we really? As you see the big block there by Benner as Joseph runs it ahead. He and Little give and go, and Boozer with the hard foul. That'll send Joseph to the line.
And Iowa State fouls on Charles Boozer, his 2nd, 4 team fouls on the Cyclones.
North Dakota
54
with the big block here.
Shoots 2.
That's Wesley Johnson trying to attack the glass. And help defense. Leonards gets the block, one of their leading shot blockers, number 42. But North Dakota, they wanted next year Division I schedule. This gives them a taste of what they have to do in recruiting, how much they have to upgrade. And they do have a couple guys sitting out, one being a local, Pat Mitchell, who prepped at Dowling High School as a redshirt freshman with North Dakota. Young man that they think is going to be a very good player for them in the future.
And again, they'll be making an appearance here at Hilton Coliseum next year, and could be for quite some time as Wesley Johnson shoots the 3. It's a good regional matchup, I think, for Iowa State or any of the Big 4 here in state. Will drive to the hoop, knocked away.
Greg McDermott mentioned, you know, he's got some relationships in North Dakota, and
there's a good give and go as Thompson finishes it.
They have trouble scheduling as they get the Division I schedule, and to invite them to their tournament next year is a nice gesture by Coach Mack to his old school.
Thompson now with 7 in the game for Iowa State. And a lot of people shying away because of North Dakota, because what North Dakota State's been able to do is Leonard shot blocked away in a big way by Johnson. Here's Garrett.
Well, you're right, BJ. North Dakota State in their inaugural year of going on the road in Division I basketball, upset at Wisconsin, upset a lot of success. Wisconsin, they went in and beat Marquette. And Ryan Moody, one of Brian Jones' assistants, told me he's had a difficult time scheduling because of the name of North Dakota causing upsets, even though it was North Dakota State. And they have to get 21 Division I games next season.
A lot of time on the road as you see Wesley Johnson checking out with 15 points, 4 rebounds. Now Deontay Garrett at the line.
And Coach Mack doing some coaching, even though his team is up. 38 points, still got Wesley Johnson. Nobody's going to give him a few tips.
Taking a long layoff here, or you could say that, for the middle part of the season before Iowa State enters conference play, 7 days before their next game, and Coach McDermott likes that, right?
I think it's a good situation because not only do you have a week to get ready, BJ, but you have no classes. So your players can really focus on basketball. You get all that extra shooting time in, and if you got injuries, nagging injuries, they can get healed up. So I think it's a nice situation for Iowa State.
Where was that 7-day rest earlier this season, right?
Could have used it.
Here's Boozer for 3. And the rebound comes underneath to North Dakota. Daniel Harkins with the board.
Well, I just can't say enough how much Iowa State has taken the Yeomans out of this game.
Bledsoe shot good as
the guy from De La Salle, Minneapolis, Bledsoe, has knocked down the threes.
Yeah, Mark Curry now into the contest for Iowa State.
Bledsoe now with 12 for the Fighting Sioux.
Cyclones will spread it around to try to attack. Here's Johnson. Now Garrett in the lane. And Thompson comes down with the offensive board, but it's stolen right away by Leonards. Make that counting with the steal.
Curry with an early appearance for Iowa State.
64-29, Iowa State out in front in a big way. Bledsoe looks to drive. Tough shot, rebound to Curry. Lob pass to Boozer, to Thompson. Tries to feed it to Corey Johnson. And it's deflected out of bounds. It will go to North Dakota. We've got a timeout on the floor. Greg McDermott still coaching hard. 10:37 to play. Cyclones up 64-29. Iowa State with a big lead on the Fighting Sioux of North Dakota. 64-29. And Iowa State showing a lot of flexibility here. Different lineup out on the floor.
What's been impressive is with different lineups, their defensive tenacity has never wavered.
Certainly hasn't. Mike Smith now into the contest, a 6'8" senior out of Runnels. Played at Southeast Polk High. Along with Curry, Corey Johnson, Deontay Garrett. And a steal by Boozer. He'll take it easy to the hoop and flush it home.
A chance for these bench people to develop with a lot of time left in the game.
And a long three drained by Urban Humans.
Oh, has he been quiet this game? Humans with just 5 points in the game, averaging 17.
34-point lead here for Iowa State. Largest was at 35. Or 37, I beg your pardon. And Garrett will work the baseline. Boozer to Smith for two.
Oh, nice play by Boozer to find a streaking Smith.
Hey, these guys work hard too in practice, and they're on the scout team together.
Well, what else this does, BJ? These guys get a little more enthusiasm, and they'll have a nice week of practice if they're getting some real game experience. Kind of gets a little more bounce in their step when they get on the court in front of the fans. Reward for their hard work.
Humans in the lane. And the rebound and putback is there by Emmanuel Little.
Well, that's a nice way attacking the offensive glass by Little.
Denny Dumas also into the game for North Dakota. Another fresh face as the Fighting Sioux also going way deep into their bench. Garrett will drive. Or uses the glass too hard that time. As here's Little. Caught up in traffic, travel called, and the Cyclones will get it back. Interesting makeup too for North Dakota. When you take a look at the long-standing conference that they have been in, the North Central Conference, this is the last year for it.
Well, North Central Conference, one of the most tradition-rich and oldest leagues in Division II leagues in the country. 83 years this league has existed, and this will be the last year. As 5 teams have gone to Division I, led by Northern Colorado and followed by North Dakota State and South Dakota State. And now North Dakota and South Dakota, the next ones to go.
Deontay Garrett now with 9 in the game after that made basket. Cyclones have forced North Dakota into 19 turnovers, which is the most that they have forced an opponent into.
Well, and Iowa State only with 3. 0 in the first half. Brackens broke the string with his lob pass over the backboard for the first turnover of the second half.
Little at the line, you see his numbers. 9 points now, 8 rebounds.
And Little has really come on strong for North Dakota. He said double-doubles in his last 3 games. Been North Central Conference Player of the Week. Led the league in rebounding last year. Nice look at Little, Emmanuel Little, out of Chicago. But Iowa State, from the beginning of the season until now, their ability to become more efficient on offense, limit their turnovers, has just been an amazing turnaround.
Certainly has, and it's progressed all along as Koenig forces the turnover, and he comes up a little short, but we've got another timeout on the floor with the ball going out of bounds. It belonged to North Dakota when we come back. 7:46 to play. Cyclones up 70-36.
And now it's time.
70-36, Iowa State with a lead on North Dakota with 7:46 to play. Everyone getting an opportunity to play here for Iowa State. Charles Boozer really making the most of his opportunity here.
Really nice steal and go in for the flush. And then he comes back with a very good assist here for an easy basket for Mike Smith. A little playing time. Show coach that you deserve some more.
Here's Emmanuel Little. He'll drive it in, and a foul called. And this one on Alex Thompson. Now that's going to be his fourth. Iowa State now has everybody into the game. Brock Jacobson into the contest.
Alex was 7 points tonight, 3 for 5 from the field, and hit the three-pointer.
Corey Johnson now will come in to replace Alex Thompson.
You know, the guy we haven't seen has been Cameron Lee, other than a brief appearance in the first half. He may have having some problems with that ankle that he hurt 2 games ago. And the staff has elected maybe to sit him out so that ankle can heal, because he's going to be a guy they're going to need down the stretch. Big 12 season.
There's a look at Cameron Lee and his ankles. And again, a guy who's really come out of nowhere and really has earned his minutes that he plays.
Well, Cameron Lee out of Country Club Hillcrest High School, here on an academic scholarship, and just worked his way into some playing time. You know, it's really a great story when you see those walk-ons go through, persevere, and gets rewarded with playing time. Well, Brian Peterson is able to work his way into a starting position.
That's true. Sean Haluska, who, by the way, again, out tonight with a bruised back. Coach McDermott, staff, there's Sean, elected to sit him here tonight.
Well, he took a very bad spill against Albany. That even hurt when I saw it. Hurt my back.
Here's a 3 from the corner by Little, and the rebound to Brock Jacobson. So the Cyclones with an opportunity here to work some clock and a little bit of offense. Up big with under 7 to play as Corey Johnson gets a good feed from Garrett. This one lost out of bounds. Last touch by Iowa State. Just the 5th turnover of the night.
Bledsoe with good help side defense for North Dakota to come over and cause that turnover.
How about the Big 12, Kevin? I mean, today some pretty impressive victories. Kansas continues to roll again.
Oh, was that impressive? At Boston College, win by over 20 points.
And of course, the rest of the league, you know, it starts and will start in a hurry. And a lot of Iowa State fans looking forward to the Big 12 season ahead as Humans comes up with a steal.
Oh, we talked with Coach McDermott that halftime interview, and there's Humans, who has been quiet most of this game. A little spark here.
Yeah, able to knock down the triple there.
But you look at this Iowa State team, BJ. You know, Rashawn Clark is a veteran of the wars. Ubalik's had a couple years in it. Wesley Johnson. But other than that, you know, a little time by Corey Johnson. They don't have a lot of Big 12 experience on this team.
Bobby Knight with a big win today, 899, as Texas Tech defeated UTEP. Here's Smith in the lane. And of course, Texas continues to roll. A big matchup tonight too with LSU and Texas A&M.
Of course, you've got Baylor against Arkansas, Iowa State's next opponent.
Yeah, how might this thing shake out? I mean, you've got a lot of teams. It's not really top heavy once you get past the Texas, Kansas, Texas A&M.
Well, you've got improved teams with Nebraska, Baylor, Iowa State, and Colorado with a new coach.
Certainly a different look. We'll see a lot of different looks in the Big 12 too, as well as Joseph looks to work with the basketball here against North Dakota as they'll decide to reset. And speaking of different looks, the Fighting Sioux, well, they might have a different look here in the next 3 years with a new nickname.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. You know, the NCAA was eliminating Native American names, the state of North Dakota is elected to sue the NCAA over their name, the Fighting Sioux.
Interesting.
It is very interesting situation, and North Dakota has 3 years to convince the two Sioux tribes, to let them use the name Fighting Sioux.
Garrett's drive couldn't get it to fall. 70-43, Cyclones out in front. Well, as we're nearing that 4-minute mark here in the game. Here's Humans on the drive.
Well, you can see how he can score in bunches, but Iowa State, very nice job of keeping Urban Humans under control early in the game.
Now, Humans now with 10 in the contest, 3 in double figures for North Dakota. Little, Bledsoe, and also Humans. Iowa State with just 2 players in double figures. Wesley Johnson finishes the night with 15, and Yuri Ubalik has 11. More coming up after these messages.
Just because we get around.
4:10 to play. Iowa State with a 70-45 lead on North Dakota. Well, there's quite a coaching tree here. Coach Glass got things started at North Dakota. Coach McDermott, an assistant coach. And of course, Ben Jacobson was actually a player at North Dakota.
Yep, now Brian Jones at North Dakota. And also you've got Brian Jones, former UNI Panther, and Greg McDermott graduated 2 years before, I believe 1 year. I think Brian Jones came in as a recruiting visit when Greg McDermott was a senior.
Not only is it what you know, but who you know too, right?
Well, it's interesting how intertwined this is, and you know, Rich Glass taking the job at UNI when McDermott left and Jacobson was hired, opened up the position at North Dakota for Brian Jones.
Corey Johnson fouled. We'll head to the line here. We've got another timeout on the floor. 70-45, Iowa State out in front with 3:40 remaining. Back after these messages here on Mediacom Connections.
Blinded by the lights.
70-45, Iowa State out in front of North Dakota with 3:40 remaining. And Kevin, it's quite a coaching tree between Coach McDermott and, of course, his relations with the University of North Dakota.
Well, it's called the domino effect. As one coach moves, takes an opportunity, it opens up an opportunity for another coach to fill in.
And how about Coach McDermott? Still coaching pretty hard here with his team up big.
Well, what is fun to watch is when a timeout is called, Coach McDermott goes right on the court and grabs one of those guys. And you know, these guys, Deontay Garrett, plenty of playing time, but some of these other guys haven't seen much playing time, but he is drawing up the plays on the dry erase board, getting them in the right spots, still coaching.
And coming out with a set play maybe here out of the timeout. 3:40 remaining. Iowa State up 70-45. And in 2008, this is where everybody's at.
Well, and it's, you know, it starts with Glass at the bottom, and there's Brian Jones, who was a beneficiary of that first head coaching experience at North Dakota. And, you know, I had the opportunity to coach both Greg McDermott and Brian Jones at Northern Iowa. And you could tell they were born to coach, BJ, because those guys in practice, they never asked the head coach. They'd always come to me and want to know, why are we doing it this way? Both had such a great thirst for knowledge and wanting to learn the game, as you knew they were going to be very, very successful in this profession.
Iowa State definitely has improved from the very start of this season. They've got, you know, we're looking at 10 wins now for Iowa State and heading into Big 12 conference play, and obviously coming in firing on all cylinders.
Well, when you get in conference play, you really find out what you're made of, and if you've recruited the right caliber of people to compete, well, everyone is looking forward, including that Iowa State staff, to see how much improvement they can make from last year, the Big 12 this season.
Where do you think those, I mean, because the Big 12 is so tough and so talented this year, where do you think those gains might come from? I mean, obviously getting a road win is a huge mark and would be a huge step for anybody in the league.
Well, I think this team, you know, Mike Taylor could really create things for everyone last year. But this team's got more balance, it's got more weapons, and it's got a deeper bench.
Alex Thompson just picked up his 5th personal foul. He'll have to check out of the game.
Well, I think you're going to see more success overall, BJ, but also on the road, because you've got to have bodies frontline bodies. That's why Alex Thompson, Corey Johnson are so important, because you've got to have your frontline people be able to go on the road and give you some very, very good minutes.
Thompson fouling out for the first time this season, as towing the line is Derek Benner. Coach Gibbon
still coaching.
Yep.
Still coaching. Alex trying to explain that I didn't foul that guy. Coach, it wasn't me.
Benner's second free throw off the mark, and Jacobson comes down with a rebound.
The Big 12, if you look at the power ratings, ranked #2 in the country, right behind the ACC. Very, very strong league. Of course, Kansas may be one of the elite teams in the country this year. A&M has not missed a beat with a new coach. And Texas is Texas.
Yeah, Mark Turgeon coming over from Wichita State down to Texas A&M, and
you know, the real battle is to see who else can close the gap from those big three. You know, and Iowa State hopes to be one of those people.
Certainly, as you see, North Dakota also substituting here as Benner will check out. And a free throw there by Corey Johnson. Really balanced attack here this evening for Iowa State.
Well, Corey Johnson is another guy you talk about taking advantage